Assessing Online Reading Comprehension, Donya Harding, University of San Diego. Comprehension is the ability to read and construct meaning using one's existing knowledge, the information suggested by the text, and the context. According to Liu et al., digital comprehension is different as it includes reading online to identify important questions, reading online to locate information, reading online to critically evaluate information, reading online to synthesize information, and reading online to communicate information. To complete this project, I demonstrated a read aloud, selected students, observed those students as they read, assessed their reading, and interviewed the students afterwards. After reviewing the Think Aloud protocol, I read a short story to each student, demonstrated summarizing, questioning, and what to do when I became confused, and I explained why I did those things. I asked them if they understood before proceeding. I chose two students who I will refer to as Jack and Jill. Jack is a 13-year-old Mexican male who scored 891 on an ELA standardized test given on October 26th of this year. Jill is a 13-year-old African American female who scored 879 on the same test. Due to time constraints, I chose this short story, Food for Thought, which sits on a somewhat busy website with animated GIFs like the guitar player at the bottom of this slide. I observed the students as they read. A few pop-ups opened and both Jack and Jill automatically closed them and proceeded to read. They mentioned the flashing icons for each of the stories on the page. Their story was the third one from the top. Jill smiled when she saw the guitar player, and Jack tried to adjust the volume to check for sound. Both students made comments after each paragraph as I had demonstrated. Jack gave almost a verbatim summary, while Jill gave more of the gist of the material. When Jack had difficulties with pronunciation or meaning, he sounded out the words as best he could and then clicked the words for the definition. On the other hand, Jill sounded out a few of the words, but relied on context clues for the words that she did not know readily. Jack and Jill both used questioning and clarification as well. Jack questioned twice and clarified 9 times. Jill questioned 3 times and made 7 clarifications. After reading the text, I asked the students the 8 questions listed here. Jack missed numbers 2 and 6, and Jill missed numbers 1 and 2. I interviewed the students, and each of them gave explanations for the questions they missed and commented that they prefer reading from printed text. I noticed that they both had problems with some of the names, and they both preferred reading books. They couldn't explain why, but that was what they both said. In completing this exercise, it appears that I must make sure that my students are digitally literate. They need to learn how to negotiate online text. This includes teaching them to find information to assist them with reading and comprehension, and teaching them to annotate digital text. Using Think Alouds with digital text and having my students read and use digital materials in class will help them build the academic skills they need. In some ways, I have used digital text and media to support my students. In particular, I have 2 students who speak very little English. One speaks Mandarin, the other speaks Spanish. I have iPads for them to use to translate notes from my initial daily instructions. They also translate their essays into English, and I run the essays through Grammarly, which is an online tool that checks for plagiarism and errors. I sit with each student and they use the Grammarly report to compare the translation to standard English. This has helped them so far. I hope that I can learn and do more. Thank you.